No. I think that's why, is because it's very random. Where I found music, my parents weren't very big on giving us music to listen to. They listened to a lot of boring Catholic music. You know, some of that's interesting or whatever, but most of it was but my parents gave me classical music when I was a kid, and I just kind of found the things that I was like, that, and got a really random pile of things that I listened to. But that's pretty much it. I discovered a lot of the music that I listened to on my own later in life, honestly. So as a musician, it's kind of a shame how under knowledgeable I am about these things, but I never was really given anything but classical music until I was a teenager, really. I mean, there was the Spice Girls for a while, but I wouldn't say they're a huge influence. Although maybe. Yeah, I honestly, I keep it on the Chopin station. You know, I just don't know what it is, but for the past year and a half, I just been going back to the old stuff. So that's normally what I listen to in my spare time. Because there's music happening all around me when we live in New Orleans, you know what I mean? But I don't think I get my dose of classical music usually. So when I go home, I think that's what I put on. Oh, totally. And it's the one place in this world that's really brought out the best in me, aside from France, I mean. But yeah, so in that regard, yes, for sure. But I'm still, you know, I still work in a kitchen half time, you know what I mean? It's still a pretty good secret down there. So legacy is such a big word, you know. I'm a part of the magic. I'm a part of that circus, but the legacy, I think, is for somebody else to carry, you know, with the blood of the city. Yeah, the ride here in the car actually reminded me a lot of the places that I used to go through. But it was fun because it was freeing. It was no obligations. It was a new city every day. I knew whatever I wanted, but it was hard because every day can be something. Like if you get just a sneeze, you know what I mean, and it goes into something else, it's much harder. Getting off of the road is much harder, you know what I mean? Like having no, you know what I mean? Like there's like a struggle. Getting stuck in the rain, I think, was probably one of my least favorite. I got stuck in a cold rain in the middle of nowhere, and I really was just like, I thought I was gonna die, you know what I mean? It started to snow, like, because I was at the bottom of a mountain, and it started to snow on top of the mountain, and I was like, this might be it, you know? There was like no cars, there was nothing, and I was like, okay, well. But I met a very nice man who gave me a ride the hell out of there at the very last minute. It was like, it's kind of funny. I think the lesson that I took with myself from the road is just that moment that you give up, just like that moment that it becomes too much. There's something that's going to break, usually. And then I start thinking that maybe that was like something that you learn in your youth that's specific to living in a privileged country in a privileged position, you know what I mean? And then you start comparing, maybe that breaking point isn't in the same place for the rest of the world. So I try to think of that when like times are hard, but then you think about the rest of the world and you're like, what did I actually learn? You know what I mean? What did I take from that? But it was good. I had some really good experiences. I learned a lot about people, good and bad. Very much so, yeah. I think about that sometimes. No, there was something really freeing about like being dirty and not caring, to not care about the dirt, to not care about the wind, to like walk wherever you go and have the time to get there. But I think that's just something that maybe comes a little bit more with youth anyway, because the older you get, the opportunities narrow, especially as a woman, you know? And so I miss it sometimes, you know what I mean? But that's just, I think, a product of me missing being a little bit younger. You know what I mean? I think so too, and it's a good pressure, you know what I mean? The things, I don't think the point is to stay in like a pair of shoes that you can't wear for much, you know what I mean? Like the point is to grow as a person and do things that work for you and do things once you get things. Because I always said when I was a traveler, I was like, one day I'll be in a position where I can do good for myself, and then I can start helping my friends or bringing my friends with me. I think that's still the right idea, but you don't really get to that point by staying in the same place doing the same thing, you know. And I do know that there's quite a few people I used to know who didn't try to do anything else, and now they're my age, and I'm like, hey man, you're not looking so good. It depends on, like, from song to song, really. Sometimes I'm like, I want to say something right now, you know what I mean? And the message is, like, very clear in there, you know, like, give up, giving up, or, you know, what you don't know right now, you might learn today, you know, stuff like that. But then there's other things where I'm just like, I feel like a piece of shit, because I am a piece of shit from, you know, everybody does things wrong or right in a wrong way. I don't know. So sometimes you just want to express, like, how you feel. Sometimes I want to apologize, or not apologize, just to, like, admit to who I am too. I feel like there's a lot, especially with, like, when you think about, like, social media and how people are like, see this happy picture of me, see this happy picture of me, see this happy life I have, and behind it they're just like, I hate my husband and my dog shits on the carpet every day, you know what I mean? And sometimes I just want to admit to not being the person that you pretend to be when somebody can just look at you as a sum. I want to be looked at, like, and I want to confess in a way, I guess. No, specifically, I guess no, but what happens when I open my mouth comes out very blues, and it's in my head. Those scales are there and that feeling is there. But I don't think I'll ever stick to it in the traditional sense, you know? But maybe I will. I feel like a lot of artists go back to their roots at some point. Fuck, man, that's a big question. I mean, for me, my roots lie in different places, but I mean, I'm talking about, like, where the music originally came from. When you're talking about, like, the black musicians in the South, and Skip James and Robert Johnson and fucking Sister Rosetta Thornton, who is a fucking amazing guitar player. You know what I mean? You go back and you start looking through what it was before it became, like, a huge production, and it morphed and da-da-da-da. Sometimes you go back to the porch, so to speak. Like a kite without a string. The first time was very random. I left an event that I really like to go to every year. I was just not having fun. I don't know why. I didn't want to be there. I think I was really sad for whatever reason. And I went home and I did this thing. Actually, it's kind of my favorite thing about being a piano player. I mean, you don't have to be a piano player to do this, but you start playing, pushing keys. My piano is like this big monster that's completely out of tune, but I love it and I don't want it tuned. And inside, I put my ear on the piano, and I just kind of push things, and I keep the pedal down, and I let it all happen in there. And the thing is that it all finds a balance inside. You can hit all the things that you want to hit, and it sounds like crazy shit is happening, and then you just let it ring out, and it all comes to peace with itself, and then goes away. And sometimes while I'm doing this, a melody will just, like, pop out of the blue. And it just does. It's like a gift, really, more than anything. It's not really contrived. It's a gift. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's what they call it for a reason. And there was this day I was doing that because I didn't know what else to do. And this melody popped out, like, just like da 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 bum bum, and I was like, "Who are you?" You know, it's like something that comes out and says hello to you. I was like, this one's not my blood. Where did you come from? And all of a sudden, this thing my hand started doing it, and a thing happened, and words just started coming out of my mouth that were all about, like, someday it's gonna be okay, and it'll be okay. It was like a happier song. And I got to the end of just doing this, and I remembered every word. It's going to be on my album. And I started to cry. I was, like, bawling my eyes out. because I was happy, and it was a song about becoming happy and like things being okay. And I was like, for a second, I was like, am I losing my mind? Like, am I going crazy here? Because I'm really like bawling and I feel fine. You know, I feel better. In fact, I feel better than I have in a really long time. I'm gonna say it'd have to be Tom Waits. I mean, I like it. I like the way he performs. I love the way he sings. I love his songwriting, his lyrics. He was a pretty big influence on like the creepier side of me. He has a song, Lucinda. I think I always used to sing along with that in the car. I think that would be the one. He's got a song, Lucinda. Yeah. Yeah, it was a very good one. It is a very good song. A beautiful stranger. Yeah, bon anniversaire. I mean, joyeux anniversaire. Is that cool? Oh, cool. Forever, no, but just tonight. I see you taking